Welcome to Chase Talks. My name's Chase, and this is Better Late Than Never Reviews, the only show where we review movies and TV shows way past their relevance. But sometimes we review them while they're still relevant. As always, in the description, you can see a breakdown of our ranking. And in this episode, I'm going to be reviewing the Steven Universe movie. Now, before we get any further, there may be some spoilers ahead. You have been warned. Going into this movie and sitting and watching it for the first time, I hadn't really seen, and still haven't seen, many episodes of Steven Universe. I actually had really never given the show a try until Cartoon Network did the marathon moving up to the commercial-free airing of the movie. Now, over that weekend, I probably watched 10 episodes, maybe total. Scattered episodes. It wasn't like I watched like the first 10 episodes. I watched an episode here, an episode there, an episode here, an episode there. So I got like a scattered mix of the story. I definitely thought it was interesting, and it made me want to watch the movie, aside from the movie being a musical itself. And I'm a pretty big fan of musicals. I like musical movies. I definitely think they're fun. And for me, the biggest part of a musical is the music itself. Story is almost second in my mind, and the quality of the music and the memorability of the music means the most. But La La Land is a good example of a movie that I just didn't enjoy the music to, and it kind of ruined the entire musical for me. But this movie isn't like that. I actually really enjoyed the majority of the music throughout this movie. I actually was worried sitting down and watching this movie because the very first song, the Come Live With Us in the Palace song, didn't really, I guess I could say, resonate with me. I just really didn't think it was that great of a song, especially compared to its reprise at the end when the Diamonds are singing it with Spinell.
Today, come live right with us in the past. Right now, there's a room waiting for our love again. Come on, I've already found someone. Just let us adore you.
Now, you can't really have a reprise without the original, so I understand the original has its place, but as like the opening song, I was a little bit like, I don't know how this is going to turn out. But as the movie moved forward, I was just increasingly surprised and increasingly impressed. The next song, that's the Welcome to the Future song. That song's really good. And then Spinell's song, I love Spinell's song. Spinell's song is amazing. The Other Friends,
Let's play another game. This time I got to win. Life on the line, winner takes all. Ready or not, let's begin. Oh, that's right, I heard the story over and over again. Gee, it's swell to finally beat her other friend.
I love her character all around. I love that she's kind of got like the rubber hose. It reminds me a lot of like Cuphead, but I get the Cuphead's based on rubber hose cartoons. But it still has that. I love her entire song and how she's like moving around and she's bouncing people. It's not a really cool fight scene, but I guess it doesn't have to be a cool fight scene, right? Compared to her fight with Steven later is a much cooler fight, I would say, in my opinion. But in the first fight, she's just kind of whomping everybody. And that's okay because it's part of her song, right? She's like bouncing people, she's hanging them up inside down. She's kind of just messing with them until she goes through and resets all the gems and then tricks, I guess you could say, Steven into resetting herself so that she can't turn off the machine that's like dumping poison into the earth. But that's more of like a plot point, and I'm talking about the music. But I definitely think her song was great, and I love her character moment is when she's fighting Steven the second time, and Steven's singing. She says, "You can't solve everything by singing," and that's just like such like a meta thing. It's like she understands that she's in a musical, and she's like, "You just can't fix your problems by singing a song in a musical." I love that. That was such like a good that's such a meta moment, and I really liked that moment. I also liked, and I guess that we can move into the story, and I can give you my opinion on the story. I really liked how meta kind of Steven was throughout the entire thing, because when, as I had said, Spinell cuts through the gems and resets them, and we have to go back through points that were already explored in the TV show of characters' backstories and them remembering who they are and having to go back through like their different quirks, I guess you could say, that make them who they are, and almost in some cases relive the tragic moments of their life, right? Things that defined their character moving forward. And they had to relive through that. And Steven, during the entire time of having to relive this, is like, oh my gosh, this is so dumb. Why do I have to go through all these things I've already been through? And I really like that because that's really meta too, because that's something that somebody watching this movie could be thinking. They're like, why am I rewatching all of these characters get reintroduced to all their flaws and stuff that had been thoroughly explored throughout the TV show? But for me, at least, as somebody who didn't really watch the TV show at all, I only watched like 10 episodes, like I said, probably not even 10. That introduction of the characters' backstories and who they are, I liked it, right? There was some stuff that I already seen in the show, and I kind of felt like Steven. It's like, oh my gosh, why am I watching something I've already seen? Which was almost made him saying that like repeatedly throughout the movie and kind of complaining, lamenting that he's like, why do I have to do this over and over again? Kind of have more meaning. And I definitely thought, from a story standpoint, it was very interesting how many kind of, I guess you'd call them Easter eggs they placed, but it was almost like hints, right? Like during the beginning of the movie, when Steven throws out his call to the universe, saying that, oh, it's peace, the Diamond's armies have been disbanded, blah, 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 whatever. One of the scenes that it flashes to is like a scene that just shows Spinell's foot covered in vines. And that's just like a little hint without saying too much to her backstory. And it's not even a hint that I noticed until watching through the second time, right? Until I knew her backstory already. That wasn't a hit that I would noticed at all watching the movie the first time. I didn't be like, oh man, look at that foot covered in vines. Who's that? So overall, I definitely think the story was really well as well. I thought it had great music. Thought it had a really good story. And I think this is about a good time to just go ahead and give it my better late than never reviews rating of
Watch it now! Wow.
And there we go. This movie hit all the points for me that a musical needed to hit and more. It had a great story. It had good character development. It had good hints to character development throughout the story, and it had great music, which is the most important part of a musical, in my opinion. So, if you like musicals at all, any sort of musicals, you don't have to be a Steven Universe fan at all. I don't think, because I definitely wasn't a huge Steven Universe fan going into this movie. I barely had watched the show at all, and I loved this movie. It was great. So, I definitely say with 100% certainty that I'm giving this my rating of watch it now. And thanks for watching. Remember to rate the video, comment the video, and subscribe so you never miss another episode of Chase Talks. Until next time, this is Chase, signing off.